Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this special Wednesday edition of Pipebomb Radio. Well, I guess technically it wouldn't be special because we've been doing it Wednesday nights for the last month now, so. But welcome nonetheless. It is the final show of January 2014. We head into February already. Can you believe it, Austin? My goodness.
I know, it's kind of scary that everything's going by so fast. It's kind of like, really creepy. It's kind of like what happened. It's like what happened last year when 2013 went by like that. It was really fast.
It went by pretty doggone fast, and you know what? This time we can actually brag. We can brag for you in this case, Austin. That last year was my turn. This year it's your turn to take part and brag that you're going to WrestleMania.
Oh yes, definitely. And you're gonna be like, it doesn't matter because me and my next was next year for WrestleMania 31 because you're in California. I'm here in New Orleans, so I don't know which way you're taking.
We'll talk about that as we get later down in the year, of course. But before we bring on our guest, he is actually patiently waiting. Let's just inform our listeners a little bit about this guy. I'll let you fire away with that, Austin. So please do. Go ahead.
Yeah, Wes Adams is. He's done a lot, like in every aspect in professional wrestling business. He's done it. He's he's been a wrestler. He's been a referee for the WWE. He's also been a trainer. He trains wrestlers and promoter. I can't remember about that.
I think he's a trainer and a promoter at the same time too. So
he's done so much.
And we have him on here, so let's go ahead and just, without any further ado. Hello, is this Mr. Wes Adams?
This is him.
How you doing, sir?
Good evening. How are you?
We're doing well. Thanks for asking. We appreciate you joining us tonight. You are a man that wears many hats, so I can imagine how busy your schedule is lately. So.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide hat collection right now.
Go ahead, man.
So I was like all right with the aspects. All your accolades: promoter, referee, wrestler, trainer.
Yeah.
Hello? I thought I lost you guys there.
I was just somebody, when I got in the professional wrestling business, I wanted to know how to do everything, not just put all my eggs in one basket, because you never know what kind of opportunities might, come your way. So it's good to have a well-rounded education about the business. Whenever you're looking at, I think that was one of the things that WWE is the first company to get right. As a company, the marketing, the promotion, the storytelling, and eventually, went into promoting and training talent with their developmental system. That's kind of one of the things I took away from up there, kind of a well-rounded education and how to do everything right. So, I try my best.
And I'm actually curious, how did it come about that you were contacted by WWE to come and work for them? I think your original start with WWE was to have been obviously a wrestler, of course. Am I right?
No, my original job was I was offered a referee job.
Okay.
A couple of extra talent spots in early 2007 after talking with Mike Boosie, Nova, who was booking the extra talent at the time, and he brought me in for some TV taping, and after my GCW match with Monty Brown, Johnny Laurinaitis pulled me up the side and talked to me for a little bit and kind of told me what he had for me, and it's kind of a take it or leave it situation. Refereeing wasn't something I exactly wanted to do or considered doing, but whenever it's right there in front of you, and the man wants some answer on the spot, it's kind of hard to tell him no. But the whole time I was there were rumors of me doing a manager gimmick, me doing at one point there was a rumor of a boy band, almost a 3-count reunion, so to speak.
Wow.
Of not reunion but reincarnation.
Sort of like a remake, so to speak.
Yeah, a remake. And they got the competition and Steve Kern. They trained me as a referee, manager, and wrestler because they told me, you never know when some an opportunity is going to come up, so you need to be ready to do everything.
That's true.
So actually, getting your start in professional wrestling, well, not really your start, but I mean, actually starting when you becoming a fan and starting to fall in love with it, how did that begin for you?
I've pretty much been watching as long as I can remember. I started watching AWA wrestling with my uncle when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and just never stopped. I started watching the AWA, Mid-South, NWA, territories, watched a lot of Memphis, and then eventually when WWF went national, I started watching that, and I just watched it, any kind of wrestling, no matter what it was. I didn't restrict myself to one company, didn't restrict myself to one, I didn't ever have a favorite wrestler, so to speak, but, I just started watching anything and everything, and, just knew at an early age that I wanted to be involved with it somehow, and there's nothing that was going to stop me from getting involved.
Interesting, and because of the, I know some of the old-timers are actually that are still out there, still traveling and still wrestling. Have you actually gotten the opportunity to, and I hate referring to them as old-timers, but you know what I mean, have you gotten the opportunity to actually get in the ring with some of the people that you maybe watched on TV, and if so, who?
Oh, definitely. When I was working for Jerry Lawler in Memphis back in 2004, they had a lot of the veterans up there. I worked with him. I worked with Bill Dundee, worked with Coco Beware, Mala, Tracy Smothers, Doug Gilbert. I've been very fortunate to work a lot of veterans, a lot of new school guys that I've worked with. Kind of got a wide array of people that I've been blessed to work with, and that's just a few of them.
Awesome. And as far as because this was actually brought to my attention, I wasn't aware of that, but I'm glad I was aware of it now. How did the Powerslam Pro Wrestling come to be? This obviously was your creation. How did it get started?
Well, I'd always promoted my own independent card, even before I went to WWE. My father was an independent business owner, and he always liked being his own boss. He liked calling the shots. He promoted a local race in our hometown, and I've always kind of taken after him in that aspect. And after doing independent for a couple of years, and once you've been around and you see the way that some promoters don't advertise, they don't properly book a card, and it's only natural for anybody with a booker's mind or independent mind to just kind of sit back at every independent show they go to and say, well, I wish they would have done this, I wish they would have done that. So in 2003, I promoted my own independent card, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I have a degree in business management, so I tried to apply a lot of principles that I learned in college to promoting an actual business, not just a wrestling show, but running it as a business. And I ran shows on and off until I went to WWE, and then after I got my release, I kind of sat down and thought, well, I still want to be involved in the wrestling industry, and I've just gotten all of this education from WWE, so I want to continue to apply it. I have a lot more connections as far as to get names, to get sponsors. You can always drop that WWE card whenever you're in a business meeting, and it goes a long way. So at the very end of my 90 days, No Compete, I promoted my first card at Powerslam Productions in Laurel, Mississippi, and that was in November of 2008. So we've been promoting for over 5 years. Just had our 5-year anniversary show in last October, and it's just kind of picked up steam. We've entered into a partnership with Luke Hawks of Wildcat Sports out of New Orleans about 2 years ago, and we do a lot of co-promotion with him, and it's been very beneficial to both of our companies. And without him and his school and the talent he's provided, a lot of our cards wouldn't have been as good as they have been. And so it's really been a blessing for helping us grow Powerslam Productions.
So you actually had long hair, nice locks there for a while, but recently, like very recently, you were in a stipulation where you had to actually cut all of it off for the last show. Can you explain exactly what happened?
Oh, well, we had our own 20-man Royal Rumble this week at our last event, and at the very end of it, I was victorious, and our heavyweight champion, Calvin Rose, attacked me after the Battle Royal, him and his manager, Hardbody Harper, and cut my hair off. So it wasn't a lose the hair match. I was just attacked and got my hair cut off at the end of the night.
Bet you were happy about that.
I was not very happy. It took me a year and a half to grow that hair. That was nice hair.
Really?
I thought so.
Well, let me ask you now, since we were just mentioning that, I'm not sure if I heard you say that now or not, but what were your thoughts about the Royal Rumble, the pay-per-view itself? I mean, there were some high points, some low points, and all around, I mean, what was if you could rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, you personally, how would you have rated the show?
Me personally, that fell in about a 1 or 2 category, and that's putting it politely.
Okay.
From the beginning of the show, opening up with Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt was understandable in the regard that if Daniel Bryan was going to put Bray Wyatt over, I think me personally and obviously the entire crowd was expecting Daniel Bryan to come back out and be victorious in the Royal Rumble and go into WrestleMania facing the WWE Champion. The other matches, Cena versus Orton, I don't think the crowd was too happy with it. Not really anything different that we've ever seen from these guys before. The match between
Big Show and Brock Lesnar.
Big Show and Brock Lesnar. That was really just a glorified, just a
glorified beatdown.
Yeah, it was a glorified beatdown, and then at the end of the beatdown, after 20-something chair shots, Big Show just pretty much got up and walked away. I didn't really understand the thought process behind that. And the Royal Rumble itself, I think, was a big letdown for the majority of the crowd. I was very impressed with Roman Reigns' performance. I didn't really care for the El Torito spot. That was, to me, was a wasted payday for somebody else. They've just been on the roster longer. The JBL spot, while it was fun comedy, it was another wasted spot for a hard-working, full-time wrestler. Wasted payday for somebody. And then the finish, I think, it was pretty obvious what the crowd wanted, and the crowd didn't get. And I really feel for not only Daniel Bryan, but also for Batista, too, because WWE put him in such a very bad situation, what should have been a humongous triumphant comeback, for Batista's now kind of turned into a bust. So I really feel bad for both guys. I don't know that WWE is going to be able to salvage it between now and WrestleMania, no matter what they do. But, I was pretty let down by the Royal Rumble, to be totally honest with you.
And I actually do have a question for you from Twitter. Are you okay with answering a couple of questions maybe from Twitter?
Definitely.
All right. It's a question from @RayLot2. He says, what's your opinion on the current CM Punk situation?
Well, I just was made aware of that today. CM Punk walking out of WWE. Obviously, a lot of people, the flag goes up immediately. Is it a work? Is it a shoot? I don't know. I'm leaning towards the shoot side because, right now there's no payoff with it being a work right now. CM Punk, the authority has really been working harder to keep Daniel Bryan down. So if it would have been a Daniel Bryan quitting thing, I could have seen it being a work. It's common knowledge that Punk's contract's coming up. He's hurt. He's frustrated with his character. And if he walks out, I totally can understand why. I wrote a column today that was posted today on PW Mania, voicing a lot of my concerns with a lot of the problems in the WWE right now. And it's finally had enough where he's frustrated with creative, he's frustrated with the pay system, he's frustrated with part-timers coming in and taking spots that guys like him and Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, guys like that there. If he got fed up with it, then my hat's off to him. I support him. He's a great guy. He's a hard worker. And he'll be successful no matter what he does. Whether he goes back to the independents tomorrow, whether he quits wrestling for good tomorrow, or whether he, works his issues out with the WWE, he's going to be successful. So, that's kind of my thoughts on that.
All right, Austin, did you have a question? I'm sorry, I didn't mean if I cut you off if I did.
Well, no worries. I was going to say that, I mean, with Dana Bryan, it's I don't understand. I mean, WWE is all about making money and stuff like that. Then why don't they give a guy that the fans obviously like to cheer for, you know, a shot at really trying to make it? Instead of bringing, and I'm not trying to, like, you know, playing Batista or anything, but just him just coming in like how he did and just getting the automatic, like, I guess, push that he's getting. It doesn't make any sense to me because Dana Bryan has been doing this for a while, and people really dig what he's doing. I don't understand why he hasn't got his true opportunity yet.
I think the big payday is somewhere down the line, but I could be wrong on that because they've been saying that since SummerSlam. Wes, are you still there?
Still here.
Yeah, but what I want to ask you is that out of all the stuff that you've done, I mean, you have, like, you know, the referee, wrestler, trainer, and promoter. What do you think you enjoy doing the most out of all those?
Well, it's really a toss-up between booking, promoting, wrestling, and training. Those two is kind of my. I know that probably doesn't answer your question, but you know, 5 or 6, 7, 8 years ago, my immediate answer would have been wrestling. But the older I get, you know, and I'm starting to you know, feel all these bumps and bruises pile up on me. You know, I'm getting more into the booking and the promoting side of it. Mm-hmm. Especially as Powerslam gets bigger, it's going to take more of my effort, you know, behind the scenes than it is, you know, in front of the crowd. So I'm trying to focus a lot of my attention towards booking and promoting, and, you know, and training, running a training school more so than the actual wrestling itself. But, you know, refereeing, it was not really something that I had a passion for. I had a passion for getting paid to referee, don't get me wrong, but I tried my best at it, and, you know, did, you know, pretty good there for almost 2 years. I got to work on the production side of it, worked in the production department with the ring crew and everything, but you know, at this stage of my career, it's going to be pretty much between promoting, booking, and wrestling.
And I got another question for you from Twitter. It's more of a comment, really, but I mean, I guess more so to get your opinion, because many people have stated this, and it's not something to pick on them because this is not what we're trying to do. We just offer our opinions, as obviously Wes has offered his. But do you think that Triple H has given the opportunity all to his buddies this year, basically, with the New Age Outlaws winning the tag titles, Diesel or Kevin Nash returning, Batista returning? I mean, I don't want to point it out like that, but I mean, that's what most are assuming at this point, that it's been given, it's because of the fact that they're friends with the COO.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
You definitely could make an argument for that. I just, you know, I don't, in the case of Kevin Nash, I would say, you know, it's very possible. The New Age Outlaws, you know, they've both been agents with WWE for a little while.
Yeah.
And with that being the case, if the New Age Outlaws are right there, and they still get a reaction from the crowd, they still can work. There's no reason not to use them, whether they're friends with somebody or not. You know, Batista, you know, I think he wanted to come back, and you can't fault for WWE for bringing him back. You know, he was a big name. He was somebody that, at the height of his popularity, you know, he was, you know, pretty darn near close to as popular as Cena was back in 2005 when they both won the World Heavyweight Championship. So, I mean, you know, I think in some cases he's done what's best for business. The Batista, you know, New Age Outlaws, Kevin Nash, I don't understand that one, so to speak. So, you know, you have to look at it at a case-by-case basis and really look into it and determine the positives and negatives of why somebody was there. What was the major, you know, Kevin Nash, I feel at this point, if they were going to bring him back as something, I would have brought him back as Diesel. I remember he did get a bigger reaction for Diesel than he did for regular Kevin Nash. Because Diesel was the WWF champion. Kevin Nash was not. You know, I think Diesel would have gotten more of a reaction. But But that's
you know what though, I do want to bring up too that as we start to bring it to a close here in just a few minutes, I do have a caller on hold that looks like he wants to speak with you. If that's okay.
Okay.
You okay with taking a question from a caller?
Sounds good.
All right, let's do this. Hello, you're on the air with Wes Adams. Did you have your question?
All right. Yes, this is Kobe, and I wanted to ask Wes, why did he wanted to open his own promotion? What gave you the idea to start a promotion in the Gulf Coast area?
Well, living in Mississippi, the independent wrestling scene is not in the best of shape. The promotion's not there. A lot of the talent down here was not trained properly. I've been to several independent shows in Mississippi throughout the years, more so than I care a bit, and a lot of the stuff that I've seen just disgusted me, to be totally honest with you.
You have these little companies that are really just a bunch of guys wearing
trash bag clothes and have never been trained, have never learned how to take a bump, never learned the mechanics of anything, running around, pretending to be, things on TV, trying to turn themselves into CM Punk or Stone Cold, just pretty much making a mockery of, a real business, a real sport. So when I brought Powerslam Productions and formed it in Mississippi, my goal and my business partner's goal was to bring WWE-style wrestling to the local scene and use former WWE talent, use talent that's trained, to work WWE style. Because independent fans that go independent, especially in the South, are looking to catch that the closest thing to WWE that they can. And they'll never get that, from a bunch of guys that have never seen a gym wear cargo pants, wife beaters and tank tops and, whatever the fad may be. So we try to present our company as close to Major League as possible, and I think we've done a really good job of that. And some of the attendance that we've had at our shows, our popularity of our YouTube channel, and just the general responses we get from our shows. We've got a lot of hard-working guys that I think look like wrestlers. We've got a lot of hard-working young women in our company that are coming up that look like they could be on TV the next day. So that's my opinion on the state of Mississippi wrestling and why I wanted to open my own promotion.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you calling in and asking the question. Did you want to stay on and listen to the rest of the interview?
Oh, yes, sir, most definitely.
All right. Okie doke. And I wanted to ask you, of course, Wes, if you can go ahead, if fans want to keep up with what's going on with your Powerslam production or where you're going to be having your next shows at, how can they keep up with what's going on with Mr. Wes Adams?
We're Facebook.com/Powerslam Productions. You can follow us there. We update all of our shows. You can also follow the Power Chat Gym, Powerslam Productions, Power Chat Gym on Facebook too. We have a Twitter @Powerslam Pro, and then you can also email at powerslampproductions@gmail.com. You can get us to one of those meetings. We have 2 events coming up in March, and starting in April, we should be running weekly events out of our school and our regular town. So a lot of big things coming up for Powerslam
Awesome.
in the next couple months.
Austin, did you have any final thoughts any final questions for Mr. Adams?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for all you've been doing, with all the future of professional wrestling, just starting to train these people that want to do this, I really like that like you and Luke are doing all the time. It's really great.
Thank you. Really
you got to keep supporting the independent wrestling.
Always.
But Wes, we do thank you on behalf of Austin and myself. We thank you for taking time tonight to have us sit down and chat. We do want to look to bring you back maybe later in the year, possibly, if that's okay. If your schedule permits it, of course. Would you be up for that?
Just let me know when, and I'll be there.
You got it. We definitely will do that. But for now, we want to thank you again for taking time, and we wish you the best, and best to Powerslam Productions as well.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Well, first of all, before we talk about the guests, I want to make a quick announcement. For those who may or may not have had trouble with the sound, I was notified that people are having a hard time hearing. I do apologize. With the blog talk, it does tend to be really horrible sound sometimes, or something cuts out, or whatever the case may be. I'm hoping that the show did get better as we moved on. If not, we do send out our apologies for if there's any way that you couldn't hear the show. If everything was fine, then disregard the message. But I was notified some people couldn't hear, so
it might not have been on our side. I don't know. It might not have been on our side. Maybe he was driving or something with his on the.
Anything's possible, but I'm just bringing that to the attention. If anybody else was having that issue, then we apologize. That was not something that was in our control. Obviously, Blog Talk isn't always the best. On certain days, it's the greatest, and on other days, it's the pits or the shitter or whatever you want to call it. But
maybe
Adam's definitely a great guy to chat with. He's doing good things. He's been places. He's worked with some great legends, and this guy continues to, the sky's the limit. I guess beyond the sky, I guess, would be the limit for him. I've heard some of his interviews before. He's a great guy to chat with, and we definitely want to bring him back because we had to cut it so short today anyway. But we'll probably bring him back for a part 2, do a longer interview, do more of a Q&A kind of thing, and maybe get his thoughts on WrestleMania or the Hall of Fame or something, whatever the case may be. Or even if he maybe one day has a show with maybe Luke Hawx again, and we'll talk about, because that's one thing I've really been enjoying. I've been hearing really great things about the indie shows, and it reminds me that that there's a good possibility, although not all of them are as good as others, that you can always kind of bring it back to maybe the territory days, where they still have people had an alternative to watch. Which is why I wish that some of the indie shows had television, television deals. Like, for instance, Booker T's got his thing going, TCW's got their thing going.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor's got their thing going. But I want them to be more out there more instead of just in certain areas. You know what I mean?
You also got Championship Wrestling from Hollywood down in your
area.
There you go.
There's that.
I think it's on
late
TV.
nights. It comes on late nights on, I believe, Ion Television, I want to say. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But other than that, what were your thoughts on Mr. Adams tonight?
I thought he was a great guy. I mean, I've watched a ton of him with, he does a lot of stuff with Wildcat and such, and I've obviously watched him a few, when he was with refereeing the WWE and stuff. But he and Luke are doing so many great things with just the future professional wrestling by training them the best way they possibly can. And
I really think that with some of these guys that we've had on here, like Byron Wilcott, like Ricky Starks, even like Wes, these guys have had their brief moments in WWE or whatever the case, but all three could definitely have such a great run. I still remember that face-off between Byron and Ryback. I think it was about 2 years ago.
Oh, that was and you can't forget about Luke Hawx was in there too. Luke Hawx,
Luke Hawx too. Yeah, you're right. There's a few guys that had a great run that, if given the time and the effort to be given the push instead of giving it to part-timers, no offense, then I see a good future for WWE, for the WWE universe. TNA, I wish them the best because I am curious to see who this new investor is. I've heard rumors.
But
we brought up the Royal Rumble tonight because obviously people were really disgusted with it, and the fans in that arena. Oh my goodness! Although I missed the live version, I did still watch the replay when I got home, and holy cow, I would have been in there with him too because honestly, he didn't. And this is not any offense to Batista because deep down I am a fan of his. Just didn't feel like he deserved to really win it. He's won it once. What was the need for it to do twice? When you see a guy like Roman Reigns get the push he's got in the Rumble, yeah, maybe he's not ready to be in the title picture yet. Okay, I'll give you that. But there's that guy, and then the fact that cheated Punk out of the Rumble, which would be another reason I could see frustrations, because they've let Punk basically flounder. He's not done nothing since his fight with Brock. He's tried to help put some of the younger guys over, but then what? When they put him with Bryan to face the Wyatts and the Shield, it went nowhere.
Let me tell you something. With Punk, what he wants in WWE is to be in the main event of WrestleMania. That's what he's always wanted. He had a WWE.
He's never really been given that chance,
No.
And you know that.
well, you talk about him and the Undertaker, and then there's him and Chris Jericho for the WWE title. He wants an actual, he wants to be the star of WrestleMania. He thinks he deserves it, which he does, but he doesn't like that people come in and, obviously, the New Age Outlaws come in for a little bit and kind of, try to get that spotlight from people that the young guys that really work hard that really want to get it. Look at all the tag teams they have. The Usos, don't you think they deserve a shot at for the gold? I think they do. I think they're an excellent tag team. But
of course, those guys. Everybody feels that those guys need a push. Need to be trusted to be able to do this, and know that they're not going to drop the ball. A lot of times, and I'm not faulting anybody in this because you know what, we're all human. We make mistakes. Do we think this person's going to get over by judging opinions? Some will say no, and come to find out they actually do. Okay, I give you credit. Maybe they didn't realize it. But you can't rely on nostalgia forever. Don't get me wrong. I love when the old school guys come in from time to time. But to come in and have them come over and be put over the guys who are there 300 plus days a year, putting their life on on the line and going out there and just kind of working their ass off because this is what they love to do. It's a slap in the face. I don't know. Maybe it's up for discussion. We'll just put it that way.
Well,
it's up for debate. Some people have their opinions, and so forth. Go ahead.
What I thought about the Royal Rumble this past Sunday is that actually I'm not going to be like everybody else and say, well, I thought it was the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. It wasn't. I thought it was the actual match. Royal Rumble match was entertaining, and there's a few parts of the show, but before it were really good too. I mean, look at them, John Cena versus Randy Orton. That was a really good match, but it was kind of with the fans. I don't think they really got into it that much. I don't know why.
There's nothing that those two haven't done that we haven't already seen.
Well, no,
and the fact that they keep putting those two down, and they keep putting those two in the same matches over and over and over and over and over, and in the main event level over and over and over and over and over, they're going to get tired of it. And they let everybody know they were tired of it. They were cheering for Jerry Lawler. They were cheering for JBL. They were cheering for the Macho Man.
Obviously, they want, what I'm trying to say here is that they want Daniel Bryan.
Sorry, I keep cutting you off, man. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying obviously they want somebody. They want Daniel Bryan. It's obvious. I do not understand for the life of me why WWE just doesn't give in. But I think I know why.
Well, see, this is what we had. We had this discussion, Austin. If you remember, we had this in September-ish or so. And you were telling me, and this is what I think. It could be a possibility down the road. But you were telling me too that maybe the push is when it's going to happen for him, and it's going to be truly going to take him to the next level in the stratosphere of WWE stars from the past up to now. He'll be in that same level with them. Now it's been almost 6 months later, and he's still in the same predicament. Do you believe that there's still a push for him down the line?
I do, but the thing is that with WrestleMania 30, I think they're trying to focus on who they think is the bigger superstars, the bigger names. And even though that they're blind by seeing Daniel Bryan, I honestly think they don't see the people cheering for Daniel Bryan in the arenas. I obviously don't. I think they have.
Well, I'm pretty sure they didn't expect the reaction that they got at the Royal Rumble, even though they referred to it as the most epic moment in Royal Rumble history. Sorry, I had to chuckle about that one. But
look, the overall Royal Rumble match is really good. It was good if you're.
No, I'm always a fan of the Rumble. The Rumble itself is always cool to watch because you just never know. I just wish that the surprises would have been that much more of a surprise. I mean, just like Wes said, when we had when they brought out Kevin Nash, he got a bigger reaction when he was Diesel in 2011. JBL, okay, I get that. That was made out to be a joke, made to be a ha-ha, and then. You and I were talking about this. The NXT star, is it Rusev?
Alexander Rusev, yes.
He was impressive. I'll give you credit with that. He was impressive for a young guy coming out of there, and he went in there and he made his mark.
He's going to be, and I'm saying this, I called it a few months ago when he made his debut on NXT. He is going to be like a superstar. He's going to be one of the biggest names I've ever had in the near future because I think he has it all. I mean, literally. He's a big guy, and and Lana compliments him so well. Lana's they're both from, where is it? Bulgaria, I think. That's where their home situation is. Whatever, same thing. And they both compliment each other so well, and I can't wait until he gets a final, stay on the roster. I mean, look at Biggie Langston. He had a kind of a slow start, but then once he actually really understood and kind of got with the program, he is just like running with the ball right now. He's excellent.
He's been doing really good. I've been impressed with him so far, definitely. I wish they would retire Ryback, but, then again, I've never been a fan. Those who listen know that I don't really care for the dude. But Brock comes around and, we get... What's that?
What, you think he needs to go back to Skip Sheffield, or are you going to like that better than what he has now?
No, honestly, even back when I seen him in 2004, in his real name, for Toughen Up, Ryan Reeves, I could tell he was a bumbling idiot. He can't wrestle anybody because he ends up hurting everybody, and then he makes fun of him to boot. He makes fun of Punk after his departure, saying he wants to take the go to sleep and the Pepsi plunge and all that bullshit. Excuse my language, folks. But and then he makes fun of Dolph Ziggler for getting hurt when he's the one that hurt him.
Well, he's a guy.
That's what I say. This goof don't have a clue what he's doing.
Well, I know, but I think he wants to. I think he wants to do better with what he's doing because
I hope so.
He loves professional wrestling. Like in general, he's a fan of it. But I think he wants to try to do better. But sometimes it's not in his favor. But people, I guess I don't know why. I mean, obviously there's something. I keep on saying obviously. I've noticed that there's something about him that the guys, the officials, and the higher ups like about him because he's still here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we get fed guys like him, and yet Curtis Axel has never been pushed any further than what he did with Paul Heyman. He's another one that's floundering. Where will he ever achieve what Kurt Hennig, his dad, did? Probably not. And I hate to say it like that. Kurt never became WWE champion. That doesn't necessarily mean Curtis can't. It's still possible for him. He's still young. He still has his future. Will it happen? I guess it really depends on how much faith they put in this kid. But we'll save that for another discussion at this time. We do have a couple of announcements we want to make about the website. So I want to go ahead and let you talk about that since you and you and our other teammate here, Zach, was actually brainstorming and came up with an idea. So fire away, bud.
We actually have a new concept, I guess you can say, called the host blog on the Pipebomb Radio website, which basically kind of gives them a new insight into various situations and various topics that we like or dislike or that we're going to talk about. Like, for example, mine, I call it probably the greatest name you ever heard in your entire life for a blog. It's called The High Knee. Yes. It's amazing, I know. Wednesday nights, I'm going to post it up every single Wednesday night and just, talk about various things, various topics. And it won't necessarily be every single Wednesday about professional wrestling. It's just going to be, about whatever I want to talk about. Same with Felix. He has his that he's going to do every single Monday called, what is it? You explain, what is it called? I just made a logo for it recently, and I can't.
And you already forgot. Wow. It is actually called Pomp and Circumstance.
Oh yes, that's it. I was actually going to say that, but that's his, and he's going to be doing his on Mondays. And right now, Zach's trying to decide something before this Friday that he's going to do. He can't come up with a name; it's pretty hard. But we all had a hard trouble to actually come up with one. I bet I had to make mine really creative, more creative than both of theirs. That's so that was mine. And it's not
just going to be about wrestling. It'll be about what's going on in the world. Obviously, Austin, if you check out his blog, he definitely talked about two of his favorite TV shows going. One I can agree with, one I can't agree with. But maybe you guys
can't agree with. You didn't even watch the entire series.
I don't care. I judged enough by after 2.5, maybe 3 seasons, I was done. You guys are able to leave comments on the blogs. There is ways to do that. If you guys have a comment or disagreement or whatever point you want to make, leave the comments. Tell us what you think. And while you're there, check out check out the other past shows from the guests we've had on, and even some of our archived Saturday Night Slam shows that we had been doing for about 6 months or so. It is there's still no actual date for when that's going to return, but keep in mind we will let you know as soon as we know. And also keep up with our show on YouTube because we do have our YouTube channel as well. I know Wes was talking about his for Powerslam. We do have ours as well. It gets updated every couple days, possibly, I think every week. Every week, probably. But starting next week, we actually will be back to Tuesday nights. And shall we go ahead and announce who's coming on next week?
Yeah, definitely.
Next week, we have former WWE superstar, current author, and surprisingly enough, we didn't know this either, also an ordained minister. Who am I talking about?
Freaking out.
I'm talking about Spirit Squad member Ken Doan. Yeah, it's you might think it's controversial, but you know what? You just have to tune in to find out.
I think he's changed his ways. I don't know. An ordained minister, he reads books to children. That's kind of.
He reads books to children. Yeah, he's an author.
Full circle.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting conversation, and make sure you guys tune in for that next Tuesday night, back at our regular time. It might be earlier, and if it is, we'll let you know. We always do let you know that, because February we've got some huge stars on the horizon. But we'll go ahead and call it a close for tonight, man. Did you have any final thoughts?
No. I don't have any final
thoughts. On behalf of Austin and myself, I'll close like I normally do, since I don't do it very often anymore. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Good night, everybody. Night, Austin.
Bye, man.